Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. Today I preview the Northeast Atlantic Division in the NHL. With the realignment of the divisions, the Northeast Atlantic Division will consist of the Boston Bruins, Buffalo Sabres, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders, New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Washington Capitals. This is how the division stacks up. In first place are the Philadelphia Flyers, followed by the Washington Capitals, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, Buffalo Sabres, and New Jersey Devils. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Also visit my Facebook page, HockeyWiz777, and my Instagram, HockeyWiz777. The Philadelphia Flyers are the most well-rounded team in this division and have a really good chance of winning this division. The Flyers have 4 great forward lines, 3 solid D pairs, and a young star goalie in Carter Hart. Keep an eye on Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee this season. Both are great young players that have bright futures in the league. Phil Myers is expected to play on the first pair alongside Ivan Provorov. They have the potential to be a great shutdown pair. Carter Hart is the backbone of the team and could be the reason why the Flyers end up winning this division. The Flyers' main competition in the division will be the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals are still legit contenders in the Eastern Conference, but they are no longer clear favorites to win their division. Washington has an incredible group of forwards, a solid D-core, and a solid goaltender in Ilya Samsonov. Alex Ovechkin is still the best scorer in the league, and the Caps still have one of the league's top power plays, since they have been running the same players on that power play for the past 4 seasons. Justin Schultz was signed in free agency to provide more offensive punch from the back end. Ilya Samsonov will tandem with either Phoenix Copley or Vitek Vanacek. They should be a good enough tandem to carry them to a playoff berth. The Washington Capitals could challenge the Philadelphia Flyers for the number 1 seed in this division. The New York Rangers have a ton of hype heading into the 2020-2021 season after the MVP caliber season by Artemi Panarin and drafting Alexis Lafreniere first overall in the 2020 NHL draft. There is no doubt about the talent that the Rangers have in their lineup. Their issue is finding a way to give all their talented young players enough ice time to succeed and develop properly. The Rangers shouldn't have any issues scoring this season, but their defense could be a problem because it has some weaknesses on the left side. Igor Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev will form a good tandem in goal. Granted, Shesterkin lives up to his potential. The New York Rangers will likely be the 3rd best team in the division, although the Islanders certainly pose a threat to them. The New York Islanders on paper might not be as good as some other teams in this division, but they make up for it because they are well coached by Barry Trotz and are a good hard-working team. The Isles have 4 solid forward lines, 3 solid D pairs, and 2 very good goalies in Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. 2 players to pay attention to this season for the Islanders are Kiefer Bellows and Alfred Wahlstrom. Both are former first-round picks and have immense talent. On defense, Noah Dobson will need to take a major step in his development, especially with the trade of Devon Taves. Semyon Varlamov and Ilya Sorokin are expected to split goaltending duties, as the Isles are expected to ride whichever goalie is hot. The Islanders have a good chance of finishing 4th in the division and battling for a wildcard spot. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz77scouting.wordpress.com. The Boston Bruins might get off to a rough start to the season for 2 reasons. 1. Their defense is not as good as last season, with the loss of Torrey Krug and Zdeno Chara. 2. Marchand and Pasternak could start the season on IR. Since it is expected to be a shortened season, not having 2/3 of their top line is very costly. On top of that, the Bruins will be experimenting with all-new D combos, which could be a recipe for disaster. The Bruins still have Tuukka Rask, as well as the best first line in the league, so the Bruins will still remain competitive, but the days of the Bruins dominating their division are well over. With that said, the Bruins are good enough to be the 5th best team in this division, and possibly be a wildcard team in the Eastern Conference. The Pittsburgh Penguins still have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, 2 of the best players in the world, but their days of being a playoff team could be in danger. The reason being is despite having a great group of forwards, their defense is weak, and so is their goaltending. The bottom 6 of the Penguins is also very weak compared to the other teams in their division, and their defense is also questionable, especially on the left side, which features Brian Dumoulin, Marcus Pettersson, and Michael Matheson. Tristan Jarry is a good goalie, but it is uncertain if he is capable of being a workhorse in net yet. The star talent will be enough to keep the Penguins in the playoff hunt, but they most likely won't make the playoffs because their division is stacked. The Buffalo Sabres have improved tremendously in the offseason compared to last season. In the offseason, Taylor Hall, Eric Stahl, and Cody Eakin were added to provide more offensive firepower to the team. Two players to keep an eye on this season for the Sabres are Dylan Cousins and Tage Thompson, two very talented prospects with huge upside. On defense, the Sabres expect Rasmus Dahlin to make that jump and turn into that franchise-type defenseman. If he can start to play like that franchise defenseman, Buffalo will be on the right track. As of right now, their goalies are Linus Ullmark and Carter Hutton. I expect Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to play for the big club at some point in the season. The Sabres most likely won't make the playoffs this season with how stacked the division is, but at the very least, they are not the worst team in the division anymore. The New Jersey Devils are by far the worst team in this newly formed division. While the Devils do have some good players, they don't really have any star players yet that would allow them to succeed against great teams. Not having star players isn't the issue. The issue is the Devils need a change in philosophy and team culture. The Devils are too comfortable losing now. This stems from coaching, and it is up to new coach Lindy Ruff to ride the ship in the right direction. Losing is not a big deal this season, as the Devils aren't expected to be a playoff team anyways, but the development of their core players, such as Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, are crucial to the team's future. I expect the Devils to be sellers at the deadline, as they have a few attractive trade pieces such as Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac, who could both be valuable assets to playoff teams. The New Jersey Devils are expected to be one of the worst teams in the league and might have a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Listen to my other podcasts on SoundCloud.com/HockeyWiz777. The Northeast Atlantic Division is going to be very tight. There isn't really a team that stands out as a clear favorite. All the teams in the division, except the New Jersey Devils and Buffalo Sabres, could be playoff teams next season, so we'll just have to see how this division pans out. On my next podcast, I preview the South Central Division.